Also, I just...
We are live.
What's up, everybody? This is Vancity Beats, Eats, and more. Hilarious start here, but we out here. This is the 81st episode. Crazy, you're our 81st guest.
Whoa.
I know. 3 seasons in, 2 seasons of StoryHive On Location. My name is Kazi, the host of this show. We are streaming live right now on the unceded ancestral lands of the Musqueam, the Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish First Nations, what is colonially known as Vancouver, BC, and what we love to call Vancity. Today, on the hot seat, aka your couch, is my beautiful friend Joel Jasper, aka Apollo, who is a Vancouver-based DJ and producer who crafts soulful, celestial, and genre-bending electronic music. His life-affirming tracks, which is quite true, I felt that yesterday when I was bumping your album,
Oh, nice. Okay.
are guaranteed to bring a smile. Host of Insider Trading on Subtle Radio, Joel has released music with Vancouver's Club Design, Berlin House Music, and Australia's clipp.art. As part of the local DJ collective Wax When You Want, he's open for international acts and performed at Bass Coast Festival in 2022. His latest independent release, which is what I was listening to, Skywalker Canyon, which released back in September of 2024, showcases his versatility blending house, techno, UKG, bass, two-step, and electro into powerful, immersive soundscapes. Hi. Was that the version you wrote, or was that the version that I put into ChatGPT and it gave me this version?
I feel like that it's probably a mix of, what I wrote and what I guess ChatGPT goes into.
I love it. Have you used ChatGPT much?
A little bit here and there, doing some of the image construction of the app, you know?
Like Sora, or what do you mean?
Or like, I can't remember which app it was, but I was like making it design some shoes for a little bit there. That was kind of fun to experiment with, but yeah.
Honestly, I never knew the full extent of what ChatGPT could do. Like, before I would just use it to help me edit copy edit. But like yesterday, I was like, plugged in all these ingredients. I was like, chicken stock, chicken, carrots, sweet potatoes, taco seasoning, make me a soup on Instant Pot. And then it literally busted out like the measurements of what I needed to do, the timing of the Instant Pot, which was the most important. And like my soup turned out so bomb.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah.
AI inspired.
AI inspired. This was an AI inspired bio. Which, I'm so stoked that you're on the show. We've
Thank you.
known each other for years, actually, but I've never really had this opportunity to really just like sit down with you intimately and talk more about your music journey, your creative journey. For me in the community, you are somebody who, recently I went through like years of my Google photos, just looking up pictures, and it would be like from 5 years ago. Every now and then it's like, oh, there's Joel. Oh, there's Joel, like at another party or another event. And to me, that just showed like who you are in the community. To me is just somebody who's such a supporter, somebody who's such like a fan of people within the community, as well as like such an ultra creative. You know, you've done a lot of the graphic design work for different events as well, whether I'm seeing you DJ or even like, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I also really appreciate when you've personally sent me messages of like, here's a mix I just finished, or here's my new album coming out. And, you know, it's, to me, that means a lot. It means a lot that you would share those things personally and think about me, and you know, and then I play it. I'm like, okay, cool. I love it.
Nice.
Yeah.
No, yeah, but I love that idea of, making friends just by being in the same places at the same events, and then you're kind of, whether or not you're actually interacting other than dancing or saying hello, but you're like gaining that comfort with someone because you're like, it says a lot just like where you're putting your energy and your time in terms of people or places. So you can get that kind of more subconscious connection with your friends at these events because you're like, you're on the same page as me, or like,
or that you appreciate the same kind of music. yeah, and for me, what stands is like people who just show up. People who show up and who care to be there.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, now we finally get to sit
Yeah,
down.
that's amazing.
I brought Joel a treat in
My
honor
favorite.
of Dilla Day, which was yesterday.
Yeah.
Shout outs to Jay Dilla, one of the
Dilla.
greatest music producers of all time. And we brought you donuts from
Yeah, obsessed.
Lucky's Donuts.
Low-key obsessed.
Do you recognize any of these flavors?
I do. I think there's some on there I haven't tried,
Okay.
but I'm ready to.
Well, this one's a cream cheese frosting cake donut.
Whoa.
This one's a chocolate sprinkles one. I think you mentioned that you like things that are filled with fruit
Yeah.
thingies. This one's raspberry filled.
Nice.
This one's called churro cheesecake.
Whoa.
Right? Good old classic honey dip. That's kind of my mood. And then this might be regular churro, which is cinnamon sugar. Anyway, shall we?
Yeah. Okay.
What would you like to try?
I'll try this like elevated churro experience.
Elevated churro experience. Yes. Like you want
Thank
like
you.
a little
it's
piece
perfect.
first?
Yeah.
I think I gotta go for the cream cheese cake frosting one. You know, it's a lot of donuts for just 2 people, and we were really trying to get away with just buying the 3-pack, but I couldn't get the cool box without buying 6. So, you know, I even tried to drop the Filipino card, where I'm like, I'm Filipino, I know the owner's Filipino, I'm pretty sure it's okay to get a box. But it's fine. We're
Yeah, we'll just
supporting
have a-
local.
Just have an eating contest, you know.
This whole interview, it's like Chubby Bunny.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, some mukbang. Yeah.
What did you just say?
Mukbang? Isn't that
What's
it?
that?
It's like Korean YouTube channels, people eating noodles and stuff. You just watch them go crazy on some noodles.
Oh my gosh. And we're just like stuffing our faces and trying to talk and trying not to choke at the same
Yeah,
time.
they don't talk, but we'll talk.
They're
We'll
just
keep
eating
talking.
and
They're
people
just-
want
I
to
think-
watch that.
Yeah, it's mostly.
This is delicious.
Yeah, okay, nice. I'll try that one too.
Try that one. So Joel, where I want to start this whole interview is back to the very beginning of your time in this meat suit, in this human form, your soul coming down to this planet in this human form. Yeah, like where are you from and where did you grow up and how did that inform who you became as a creative being?
Yeah, okay. Meat bag. My little
Meat
meat bag.
suit.
Oh, meat suit, yeah.
But I like meat bag. That's a
Is
good.
that what you said? Maybe
no.
not.
And I also have to
Okay.
shout out Too Tall because he's the one who I got that because he's convinced he's alien spirit who came into this lifetime as a meat suit.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, little
But
meat suit.
meat bag.
Yeah, I did grow up here.
Born here.
Born here, yeah. I grew up kind of closer to UBC, I guess. Carousdale, K-Dale. What's up?
I
K-Dale?
have never heard that, and I grew up in East Van. Joyce Collingwood.
Oh, nice.
But
Okay.
K-Dale.
East
Say
Van,
word.
Yeah. And yeah, let's see. I've been playing guitar for a long time. So in high school, got into music that way and just was in like random cover bands with my friends and playing Battle of the Bands and
Ooh.
yeah, just being a total like indie MySpace music nerd, I guess. And then slowly I started to like mess around with GarageBand and like simple, like the early Fruity Loops and different production programs. Actually, first I started with Windows Movie Maker,
Oh my God.
which is, arguably you
music?
can't even like make music, but somehow I thought that, you know, mashups and stuff were big at the time, so I was like figuring out how to layer audio and like just cut stuff up and loop stuff. And I would even send it to like some of the DJs that were throwing parties at the time. Like I'm running around with a fake ID and like making Windows Movie Maker and sending them to people. So yeah,
Did anyone pick it up? Anyone?
I
was
think
like,
people
I
were just
rate
like,
this?
I respect the passion and the effort and keep going. I don't know. Yeah, but you know.
I'm
so,
glad they didn't crush your dreams.
Yeah, no, definitely not. They were like, that's crazy. That's crazy you're doing that, so keep going.
Yeah.
And then in terms of the program I use now, which is Ableton, making stuff on there, I had like a science of music class or something. I went to UVic for a year, and a buddy of mine, for our final project, we were like, let's learn Ableton and we'll make a song and that'll be our final project. So that was like my first time. We made this like weird like story with like we went around campus and made this kind of like picture story to go along with the track. I don't know.
That's cool.
Yeah, we made this whole like campus-wide adventure with the sounds and like the music in the background. But I was like obsessed. We stayed up all night. We made this track together, and I was like, this is so fun. So decided to teach myself from there. Yeah.
Who were your early influences during that time, like musically, that was informing what you were creating?
Yeah, I was just talking to my studio mate about this the other day. Like, he was more in the kind of Skrillex
oh my gosh,
realm, but yeah. But I was super obsessed with MySpace, and at the time, all the French touch like Justice and Breakbot and Daft Punk and those types of artists were, I feel like, just super popular in like, yeah, Bloghouse, that's what they called it, that era. So just digging through MySpace and creeping different artists from France and Europe, and that was a cool introduction. Kakapi and stuff from Australia as well, but very 2000s. If you listen to it now, you're
very
just like you could probably pinpoint the year on those tracks. But
would you still rate the stuff that you made, or how do you feel about thinking about the stuff
that I was making then?
Yeah, back then.
I don't think I like had a lot of stuff that I like finished and printed. I was kind of experimenting, but like my first EP that I made I was pretty happy with, and my friend I knew growing up because we went to the same high school, CZ Wang, who went on to like make Mood Hut and that whole label. I sent him one of those tracks and he actually liked it. I remember he remixed it back then and put it on like a Mood Hut compilation, which was, looking back on it, like so crazy. I'd be so hyped to have that experience now, but like I was really cool. I was really like just excited to have someone who I thought was doing cool stuff like hear my music and want to remix it and do something with it. So
how long ago was this?
That was probably like 2012 something, 2013. Yeah, I had just graduated university. I think I was like focusing on music for a little bit there. Yeah.
So just over a decade now then.
Yeah. Been making music for over a decade. Yeah.
What would you say is like your relationship to music? Do you consider it a hobby? Is it something that you love to make as a career, or?
Yeah, definitely working all the time towards making those two worlds collide in terms of just supporting myself. But I don't really want to make that the priority necessarily, because I've tried that where I like quit my job and I'm just like, oh, I'm just going to do music, and like it becomes this weird kind of limbo where if it's not going super well, then you have this like kind of anxiety around paying bills and like just trying to make it work. So that didn't feel like a healthy connection, and I also had other interests, so I made sure to always have like another source of income or another, other work and stuff I can put my energy into, so that I have like more of a diverse like week as I'm doing my thing. But now it is just like a huge part of my daily life. Like making stuff, collaborating with people is becoming more and more important to me, because that's like where I have the most fun, I think, is making music with other people.
I'm just gonna do this.
Oh, yeah.
To your microphone here.
No problem.
You can hear your beautiful voice.
Yeah. And yeah, so collabing with friends, but also other conversations I've been having with my music production friends is like making the effort to put in the last few miles on like work when you finish something, because a lot of people will make something and then move on maybe, but they don't give the track the energy that, I like the support that it needs to like be heard,
Can you give me an example?
Like,
of what you mean?
I feel like a lot of
marketing,
producers
or?
nowadays are just like so used to the kind of fulfillment and joy that comes from making music, but they just want to move on to the next track or like the next project. But like, I think it's equally as important to think about how tracks go together, if there should be like an EP made, or like sending it to labels, or making your own video for it, whatever you want to do. It, like the kind of wrapping it all up is just as important as like making the stuff, because it's important that people hear stuff, and it's important for producers to have that experience too, because you're also engaging with people, and like you're saying stuff to me about what music does for the stuff that I make, your experience with it, and like that's all part of it. And I think it's important to learn about yourself through other people's like interaction with your art, I think.
Oof.
Yeah, I don't know. That's something I've been focusing on more lately.
I like that.
Yeah.
What would you say you've learned about yourself through other people interacting with your art?
I think, yeah, trying to spread that message to my friends and just tell them that like it is so important, because it also, we have our own ideas about what our music is and like how it might be interpreted, but like people send me messages or tell me stuff about my music that I never would have thought of, or like that's not really what it meant for me, but it means something different for them. And so just having those experiences like helps you build confidence and like stuff that you're not quite sure about if you should like finish it or put it out, but it's like you never know what is going to speak to people. So
is there an example that you have from an experience with someone that made you reflect on yourself?
I put out 2 EPs last year, and both of them I had been sitting on those tracks for like at least 6 years. I didn't
Which
really
one, Neptune and
Yeah.
Skywalker? Or
Skywalker also I've been sitting on for a while, but
or the Paradise.
yeah, the what do I call it? The Cobalt Blue
Oh,
EP.
Cobalt Blue, yeah.
And those tracks I didn't know what to do with. I played them for people finally, and they're just like, these sound fresh, like so fresh. And I was like, oh damn, okay, I guess I need to do something. And yeah, that was a big confidence boost, just to like, I've archives of music, and like I need to like turn my focus onto how to package things and like put it out with people. And yeah, I think just getting feedback, and like I'm saying, all these different experiences people have with it, you're just like, whoa, that's so crazy to hear. Like I did something at the Lobe Studios,
which we've interviewed Alex Penny. Sorry, I'm going to do this.
Oh yeah,
because it's going behind your lapel.
Okay.
And this is probably better. Can we see the levels? Levels are good.
you interviewed the person that runs Lobe.
Alex Penny, who
Yeah.
is, or Pendamental, who is one of the engineers, also an incredible music producer himself. Jamal interviewed him back in season 2.
Oh, sick.
And yeah, he explained 4D sound and, you know, showed the space and talked about his journey. But yeah, so you got to do your EP release there.
I did the Skywalker album release there.
Oh, okay, yes.
Yeah. And I was inspired to do that because I went to one of their like John Hopkins listening nights, and he's a UK producer and film score guy that I really like, and I was just like, this would be so cool to just have a listening experience here with some of my stuff. So
They 4D spatialized your album?
I didn't get the resonancy thing that you would do to like spatialize, and also a lot of the tracks were very old. I didn't have all the stems or anything like that anymore, but I actually got to, once I realized I was going to do that, I wanted more ambient kind of moments in the album, so it pushed me to like make all these transitions for the album in terms of like the tracks flowing into each other, which I wouldn't have done if I didn't have that lined up. So that was like this whole other cool thing that just making an event and a show led to, and now I like the album way more because it's got more of the details and kind of the direction and themes I was trying to go for with the album by like making these interludes. And anyway, so yeah, I had like a private one night. Wish you guys were there. Were you there? No, yeah.
Yeah, I was in Europe at that time.
It's such a small room. I like I had to be very, anyway, couldn't
Yeah.
fit a lot of people in there, but wanted to be comfortable. So everyone's there chilling, and it was just like really close friends, and it was sweet. You can like control the like resonance of the floor, so like how much you want the bass to like go through people. You're just like, oh, I have too much power at my fingertips right now. Like, so I had to like hold back and do some testing before, but yeah, after doing it,
do it again.
yeah, I should probably do it again. I might, maybe on the anniversary or something. But well, it was going to close at the time, and now I know I've heard it's like not closing anymore.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I think it's staying open. So
Well, that's awesome.
yeah, that's awesome. But anyway, after that event, I just was like going around talking to people, and they're all telling me their like visual journeys that they went on, and like how that made their bodies feel and all this stuff. And just back to what we were talking about before, I was like, whoa, like, you know, it does something for me, but it does something completely different for other people. And it's such a joy to like hear what their experiences were and how they interpreted the whole thing. So
I love when, I mean, there's so much you just said there, and now we're going to transition to talking about Skywalker Canyon because I bumped it like on repeat yesterday and this morning because I just wanted to feel your vibe, bro. But it's interesting that we have this relationship to our art. We're creating it. We're in relation in making it, you know, from either frustration, self-judgment, self-doubt, to expression, to release, to all of that. We have our own relationship to it, to the point where it's like, now I'm ready to just like cap it, it's done, and package it, like you said, and then share it. And then another relationship is born from the people who take in your art. And it's like this constantly evolving thing, which I think is like, what is so dope about art in general, art making, but also like the process of, I don't want to use the word consuming, absorbing, experiencing.
yeah.
You know, it leaves this room for the unknown. It leaves this room for people to reflect on their own lives or reflect on their own art and be inspired in some sort of way. And so like this relationship just keeps evolving. I'll say that.
Yeah, totally. I agree.
Skywalker Canyon. I mean, the visual is beautiful. Did you take that photo of the moon and the canyon? And
no.
is it Utah? Like, where is that?
Yeah, I would love to. I did a deep search trying to find the original, the artist, the photographer, and it's just like I couldn't get anywhere. I went down a bunch of rabbit holes, but I found it somewhere, and I realized that it was one of those things similar to making the interludes for the project. It was like that photo spoke to me in terms of like, yeah, I have this like deep interest in the desert and just like musically, I've been trying to like exude some of those like feelings I have about it, or like the way I think it makes me feel. Not that I've spent a ton of time there in different deserts, but like, anyway, I found that photo, and it also kind of pulled out like tracks together into what the album was. It was all this kind of amorphous thing that like happened at once, I guess, where the album came together in conjunction with the album artwork. And
what desert have you been to that like first gave you that feeling?
When I was little, we had some like family friends that were in Arizona, and they were also in Houston. But like, yeah, so I spent a bit of time in Arizona, and more recently going to Joshua Tree and sometimes Palm Desert and things like that. But yeah, anyway, I like to check out a lot more, I think. Yeah, do some hikes in like Utah, like you say, or something like that would be pretty wild.
Yeah, Moab. I mean, I don't know. Would
Yeah.
you consider that desert? That's like Red Rock Canyon type of vibe.
Yeah, where is that again?
Moab is in Utah.
It's in Utah. Okay.
Yeah. But I know what you mean. Like, I've been to Palm Springs once, and just like the area outside of where that city-ish,
Yeah.
if you can call it a city, like the air be different.
Right. Yeah.
You know, the way that the sky is, and just like the lighting. I was with Vanessa Tam, actually.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
We randomly, and Nick Collinette, we were well, I met up with Nick and we did a trip to LA and Palm Springs.
Nice.
But it turns out Vanessa Tam was also there, who's also been on the show, by the way, season 2. And we all ended up hanging out, and Vanessa was the one who's like, I'm telling you, man, just something here is different.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there is this expansive feeling of the desert.
I think it's probably also pretty exotic for us growing up in, you know, Pacific Northwest.
Oh, yeah.
Mountains and
Deciduous
and,
trees.
Yeah. So just like dry air and expansive landscapes, things like that. But yeah, and so came up with the album.
Why Skywalker Canyon?
Skywalker Canyon. My first album was called Skydive, and that was actually kind of a concept album in like a very loose sense of like, you know, a project kind of coming down to earth, I guess, like with the song titles and things like that. So I wanted to keep that loose kind of concept going, but there is a track. The first track is called OP1 Kenobi,
which is my favorite, actually.
Nice.
It makes me dance a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. But yeah, I used the OP1 synth on that, so that's where
why.
the
I don't
name
know
comes
about
from.
what synth this is.
Yeah, it's okay for the producer nerds out there. But and then also just in line with like the weirdness of the desert, and like people think, oh, there's, you know, weird extraterrestrial stuff happening there and things like that. So I wanted to kind of keep the Skywalker Canyon. There's also Skywalker Ranch, which I think kind of gives people that's another like weird place that there's tons of conspiracies and stories around and things like that. I don't know details really right now, but
I've driven through Roswell.
Oh, cool. Oh, that'd be wild.
Yeah. There's alien monuments everywhere. And this was during a time where I did like an epic road trip journey from Vancouver down through Washington, Oregon, California, Nevada, did the Burning Man.
Oh, cool.
The Burning Man.
Yeah.
And then Utah.
Wow.
Did not do Arizona, but went into Colorado, New Mexico, and then Texas. But driving through Roswell, and part of this journey too, which I highly recommend if anyone's on like an epic road trip, is like take in audiobooks or things that speak to like where you are.
Yeah.
You know, like when we were in Texas, I was like, hit me with that like, you know, UGK album, and just like anything that was Texas, Houston, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But then going through Roswell, we were listening to like stories, alien stories, and extraterrestrial stories, and we're just like looking at the land where we are, and we're like, what, really?
Yeah.
People experience stuff like that out here? Crazy.
Yeah, that sounds sick. I would love to do something like that. Yeah, that reminds me of, I remember there was like a Queens of the Stone Age album. I don't know if you know them.
Yeah.
They were like,
what's that?
They're like
I've heard of that, but I don't
a
know
big
really
rock
know what it is.
band in the 2010s, I think.
Right.
And they had an album that apparently scores the drive from, is it Vegas to LA or something like that? But it was like an album made for the drive between LA and I think it was Vegas, but reminds me of that. That's sick though. Yeah.
A place of love lives on, aka Apollo. Pourquoi?
Yeah.
How did you come up with this name, and when did Apollo come into this meat bag?
Yeah. Yeah, the meat bag arrived. I was just talking about this with my partner because she was like, they're probably going to ask you this. So, and I hadn't told her the story, but anyway.
You're like, watch the interview.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You got to tune in. No, the first 5 or so years of making music, I had another name I went by Kalibo, which is actually a place I went to in the Philippines.
Yeah, I was like, did I know you from that name before? Or
maybe. Yeah, we would have. I think I was going to public disco and playing shows
as
back
Kalibo?
then. As Kalibo for a while.
Yeah, but okay,
Yeah,
so it's a place in my motherland.
Yes.
Do tell.
Yeah. Well, that was I was teaching in South Korea, and there's lots of holidays there. So my friend and I went to Boracay, and we met my friend from high school there. She and her mom do volunteer nursing in the Philippines, and after their like 2 weeks of that, they always went to Boracay. So we crashed their mother-daughter like little vacay, and on the way back, we went. I guess the boat goes through this town called Kalibo.
Yes.
Yeah, and the landscape there and everything was very tropical. I was making more like tropical, beachy kind of indie house and like dancey stuff back then. So I was like, that name is really cool, and it also feels like locked in with the type of music I was making. Yeah.
I'm so excited right now. Okay.
I forgot about that part, but yeah.
Well, okay, this is why I'm excited. Because, bruv, you have traversed through my motherland.
Yeah.
Like there are 7,100, 7,200 islands of the Philippines, but that is the island that my family's from. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
This is why I'm like all cute and giggly and stuff.
Yeah.
But like, so there's the tiny island of Boracay, and then there's this bigger island called Panay, and Panay is divided by multiple provinces, and you like there's like that big city, Rojas City. Is that where you ended up driving to get to the plane?
That sounds familiar. Yeah.
So you drive through these different provinces, and one of those provinces is the province of Aklan, which is where like my grandmother on my mom's side is from.
Oh, wow.
And Kalibo.
Amazing. Okay.
Yeah, like you literally went by a name that is where my ancestral lineage is from. Bro.
Yeah, that's
amazing.
Well, I'm glad we finally got to talk about
Yeah, but
that.
now you changed your name, so now you have to explain it.
Yeah, well, it was a good run. I really liked that name and that project. But we narrowed it in. It was like the first year I went to Base Coast, and I saw some friends playing on the main stage, and they had like, it was actually Waspy and Blondtron there, and they had kind of big dancing energy, and like he's playing the drums and she's DJing, and like visuals and costumes and like just like big budget kind of feel for their show. And as I was watching it, I was with my friend, and I was just like, oh, I got flashes of like what my project might look like if I had a main stage set and I had like some production behind it and like decorating or whatever, like a stage design or something.
You saw yourself.
I saw it, and I was like, I saw it, but like that's not Kalibo, it's something different. And I had been feeling like a name change might be coming. So that night at Base Coast, I was running around, and I had this idea that I had like my art design account. I had made this image for kind of my avatar, and it was like a bust of like a Greek god, I assumed, a Greek statue. And I had this for a number of years, making design or illustrations and stuff. And I was like, I wonder what that bust is, and maybe there's something there. So I was trying to find the original image I used for that design. And first I came across Ares. I like the Greek god Ares.
Yeah, that's the god of
well, yeah, because I'm an Aries, and I was like, maybe that could be cool, but it turns out, he's like the god of war and fire.
Yeah,
and like,
exactly.
And just like
so opposite from who you are.
No chill at all. And so I was like, okay, that's not it. And then I keep looking, and I find it, and I find the image, and I realized, it was Apollo. And I was partying. I was at a festival, so I was reading this thing, and like at the time, it was like a little blurb about what Apollo does or whatever, but
what does he do?
In my mind's eye, what I saw was like he loves to like ride his bike to the beach and like like just hanging with friends. It was like all this stuff about like things that I like.
Yeah.
And so
you mean Apollo in Greek mythology as a god likes to ride his bike to the beach?
I was having a moment. Okay. And so my phone was like speaking to me or something. I don't know. We're at a music
live
festival.
Streaming. We get it.
And so I was like, whoa, like that's sick. That is sick. And also I just loved the word Apollo. I felt like connected to it. I ran up to my friends like, yo, I'm changing my name to Apollo. They're just like, yes, absolutely. That works. And so that's where it came from. And then I was making my first album. And I didn't want to like just completely be associated with, you know, everything that goes around that word Apollo. So I was like, thought of the acronym, A Place of Love Lives On, as, you know, something that was more personal to me and like kind of a mantra and like a self reminder and something I wanted to like imbue into the music I was making. So yeah, it kind of came together later, but like I was much more attached to it and felt more connected to the name once I made it an acronym.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You grew into it.
Yeah. Felt
and
more
that
personal.
identity.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I
so
love
there you
that.
go.
Apollo who loves riding bikes to the beach.
Yeah. 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 No problem. Yeah.
How would you describe the music that you are creating right now in terms of its sound, characteristics, genres?
Yeah, good question. I think that I'm making a lot of different stuff. I always have made a lot of different genres of stuff, like from Skywalker Canyon to these other EPs. It's like, I hope there's a through line. Like, I hope like the artists that I love the most, I can like, if they threw some curveball of like a completely different genre than what they normally make, I'd still be able to know if it was their track just from the sound and like the energy. So I'm still working on that, but like, I guess in terms of the dance music I'm making, it's like a little more sleuthy swing, like UK influence stuff right now. And yeah, so some like garage and some like two-step stuff, I guess, but still very connected to house and making lots of that. And then also experimenting with just beats and like hip hop stuff too, because like that's what I grew up on. That's what I grew up listening to, was more hip hop, like Tribe Called Quest, Dilla, like stuff like that. So and I feel like it finds its way into all the house music I make anyways, because I use a lot of soul samples, jazz samples, and stuff that they were influenced with, but they were just making a different genre. So it's like, it's cool to find the kind of connective tissue between all of that stuff. Yeah.
Well, from my personal experience of your music, I definitely feel a through line is experimental. You know, like you're always willing to try something new and something different. And I don't really have the word for it, but something that goes along the lines of like what you don't expect and it's flipped. That's how I feel.
Cool.
Because I hear those influences that you just described, which was cool, like sleuthy. I never thought of that word before.
I love that word.
But like, yeah, it's a good word. It's an it's a vibe. It's an energy. But yeah, there's I hear those influences in it, but it feels flipped.
Cool.
You know?
Yeah, totally.
And that you've done something different and creative with it, which is really cool.
That's nice to hear.
Visual art wise, you know, it's cool that earlier you were talking about things becoming a full package and thinking about that package, because when you release your work, may it be a mix, or if it's, you know, your actual EPs or albums, like there is an aesthetic that you've built. If anyone wants to go check out Apollo's designs on IG, you'll
Apollo's
see
design.
his illustrations and graphic design work. How did you start getting into that? And what are you influenced by?
Yeah, I just for the sake of, you know, saving a buck, I decided to start making my own artwork. Oh, I don't know if that's really what it was. I was like, had a very particular idea of what I wanted it to look like. So
It's like one of those, like, it's easier if I just do it myself
Yeah,
than try to
exactly.
explain to someone.
Yeah, totally. So I was just dove into learning Illustrator, which is the program I usually use, and then I fell in love with it. And I haven't been doing it as much lately, but that's gonna kind of come off the back burner soon, I think. And but yeah, at the time I was really influenced by there's this artist. There's a few, but there was a female artist that did a lot of like New York Times covers and things. Her name is Malika Favre, I think. And then Pilar Zeta, who does all the art direction for like Jimmy Edgar's label, and he's a big producer doing crazy like techno stuff. And anyway, so there was a few artists that I was just like at the time was trying to, you know, mimic and like learn from their style and expand from there. So, but they were using the program for what it's really good for, which is making super clean lines. It's all like, you know, algorithms and ratios and mathematics that like you could zoom things in and like it doesn't matter how much you zoom, it doesn't pixelate, it just stays like a clean line. And so I felt really drawn to like using that but making also realism. So going super detailed and you know, recreating a photo or something, but with all of this kind of like perfection, which I've heard from people, it gives them such a kind of interesting feeling because it's like serene and like very clean and calming, because maybe it's like such a organized looking thing. You know what I mean? Like there's no kind of mistakes, which I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what a mistake is, but like, you know what I mean? It's kind of just like its own particular style. I think it's been called flat art before.
Oh, really?
I hear people talk about it.
I mean, I just look at it and there's like aspects of it that feel very retro, but also very modern because the color palettes you choose.
Yes.
That's the part that gets me, where I'm just like, I get this like, oh, and then the color palette plus all the lines and like the flat, what did you call it? Flat art. Flat art. Yeah. It matches the sound. Like all of it is a cohesive package.
That's definitely what I was trying. Yes. And I do feel, I don't have like, you know, colors flashing in front of my face when I'm listening to music, but I do feel like a synesthetic like connection to tunes and like certain color ideas or like feelings of certain colors come up when I'm listening to music. I think a lot of people experience that. And so just using that connection to be inspired to make something, if I'll be like listening to music while I'm doing something, or like making artwork for friends' covers, which I've done in the past. That's a cool experience because it's like other people's music and it's like I get to interpret it visually.
Speaking of synesthesia, have you seen Piece by Piece?
No, I haven't heard of that.
The Pharrell.
Oh no, I definitely, I want to watch that. The Lego recreation.
Oh man, have you heard of it? Yeah. Anyway, sidebar, behind the camera today is Jamal, aka season 1, season 2 OG in the house. Say hi, Jaji. So Piece by Piece is the film that Pharrell created, and it's so funny because, you know, it's a could have been a documentary, like just like actually filmed him and his family member, all this. But then in the beginning of the movie, it starts off with like, you know, instead of just making this like a documentary, like, what if we were Lego?
I love that. Yeah.
It's like, and the colors and you know, that's the beauty of animation is that sky's the limit of worlds that you can create and the colors he chose to use. And he was really trying to convey this, you know, a part of his story, which I never knew about, is that he experiences synesthesia, which is like seeing colors when you hear sound and experiencing other senses through other senses. And anyway, what you just said reminded me of that, and it's brilliant. I only got into like 30 or 40 minutes of the film on the plane. Okay. And now I need to like rent it. Yeah. It's good.
Is there like a Lego like Timbaland and Kendrick or something?
Dude,
like...
there's a Lego Timbaland. There's a Lego Missy Elliott. There's nice. Like everything is Lego. Like it happens in the world of Lego, and it's so funny, but also like really just it shows Pharrell's playful imagination. And what's really cool is that a lot of it takes place, I mean, that's his come-up story, is in Virginia Beach, which is where I have a lot of my mom's brothers and sisters immigrated there from the Philippines. Oh, wow, okay. So as a kid, that was also some of my early influences musically of hip-hop. Right. Because I was like a 90s kid going over there, meeting and hanging out with my cousins and being inspired by the music and the things that they were into. Yeah,
Neptune and Missy Elliott.
Yeah. I mean, my oldest cousin, like they all went to high school with Chad Hugo and blah, blah, blah. So
that's very cool.
You know? Yeah. I would love to talk about Vancouver scene with you.
Sure.
You know, especially this DJ collective that you're part of, Wax When You Want.
Yeah.
When did that start? How did that start?
Yeah, we just had our 2-year a few weeks ago. Started with, it's my friends Ray, Nick, and Henry. That's DJ Dairy Free, Direct Deposit, and Barometry. And
great names.
Yeah, all great names. Killer DJs, go book them. They're crazy. It started just as like, I think Ray and Henry and maybe Nick at the time were just like having a weekly mix and meet up at Henry's place, which is over here in the West End. And I think I was coming around a little bit too and like doing some like random design ideas for, I don't know if we were going to throw a party or something, but yeah. And eventually the four of us were just like, let's make this a thing. And it was all about just like, kind of like what we were talking about earlier, an excuse to like hang with the people that you're partying with all the time, but don't get to like actually chat and like spend real quality weekday time with when the lights are on. And
you see what everyone actually looks like.
Yeah, exactly. Which is great.
Which is beautiful.
Beautiful. Yeah. And so we meet at Henry's place, and we had a guest on every 2 weeks for a while. We were doing it bi-weekly.
Is it kind of like living room DJ vibes?
It's living room DJ vibes. There's a couch in the back. Someone's making snacks and food. And there's like a gerbil running on a wheel on the TV or something. Or like for a while we were watching guinea pigs eat watermelon. Like, I don't know. It was always just some hilarious YouTube spiral to like keep people entertained.
For a second I thought you meant like a real gerbil.
Yeah, we should have got a real gerbil at Wax When You Want.
But why Wax When You Want?
That was kind of just to let people know that they could bring vinyl if they wanted to experiment, because it seems like everyone's building their libraries, building their skills with just DJing vinyl, and it was also trying to push us to get more into that world. So, and also just kind of an open invite when you want, like come by when you want, tune in when you want. It was supposed to be very relaxed, low key, and no low barrier entry kind of thing. So sometimes the apartment was packed. It got to the point where Henry was like, we gotta chill out on the invites, because but fortunately his neighbors never had an issue and we kept it going. But they just moved out, so we're gonna have to find a new home for it. We might do some bleach pop-ups, which is where Ray works out of. It's like a wine bar, listening bar.
I have been wanting to check that place out. I still have not gone. Cyber, do you mind to, like, I've got sugar.
Oh, yeah. Dump it.
I got sugar on it. Thank you. You know, the glazed donut, or the honey dip, you gotta, you know. How do you feel being part of a DJ collective has helped you grow and expand as an artist?
In terms of DJing, it's helped me a huge amount because, you know.
When did you start doing that?
Around the same time I was like making electronic music.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. Making mixes for university parties and stuff and whatever. But yeah, we're always needing to, you know, dig and have fresh stuff for our shows. So it keeps us on our like digging regimen, and just mixing with those guys was always really inspiring because they all have different styles and techniques and ways of mixing. So I'm just like right there with them for 4 hours every couple weeks, and we're like teaching each other stuff, pushing each other to go crazier and crazier, and you know, went through some parties as well, which was a fun experience to do together. But yeah, really just like a supportive collective of us making music, DJing, getting gigs. You know, if you're a DJ, you're like figuring out ways to like connect with other parties and things, and it's just like super info sharing, like help each other out kind of energy. Yeah,
it's so much more fun to do things when you're not alone.
Yeah,
with
exactly.
Your friends.
Yeah, and music and DJing can be isolating if you allow it to be, but like trying to step out of your shell, go to things like this. You know, we got B-Side Radio. What's up? That's an amazing place for people to just meet and see DJ in action, or like try it themselves. So I love stuff like that. Yeah,
and to have the platform to share it too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
Mm-hmm.
How about this new show that you have?
Yeah.
Called
yeah.
Insider Trading, which
Insider
I love
Trading,
the name.
yeah.
It's on Subtle Radio, which is based out of Hackney,
Mm-hmm.
London?
Yep.
Is that like a neighborhood in London?
I believe so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've heard of a thing called a Hackney accent.
There you go.
Yeah, I need
Yeah.
to Google what that sounds like. But yeah, tell us about this show.
Yeah, it's a monthly, and I guess they have like recorded programming from around the world in the first half of the day, and then they have a studio where DJs in Hackney or around London are going and playing their live stuff. So they had an open application. Well, they did the takeover at Base Coast last year, I guess. Last few years they've had like Boiler Room, Keep Hush, and then Subtle Radio do like live streams out of the festival. So
cool.
I had heard some of their mixes here and there, but that's when I like felt more connected with them, I guess. But once they posted open applications for residency, I was just like hopped on, gave the person the idea for the show, which was to like give people more of a chance to play out their stuff they're sitting on, their unreleased stuff, and like try and showcase the people around me in the community here, and got accepted. Yeah. So Insider Trading, it's like the third Wednesday or fourth Wednesday of every month, and I've had 2 so far. The first episode I did like an all originals mix from friends. I had everyone send in stuff, and then the last one I had my friend T Noble as the guest mix, and that was killer. Yeah. She did like the 40 minutes at the end. It's such a good mix.
I heard that mix too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the next one I have my friend Colin Ironzu. He's going to be doing the one for this month. But yeah, I can't wait to just like stack it with all the producers I'm loving, and again, just like an opportunity to push people to like finish stuff and put it out. And like, because I feel like there's all this pressure to get your stuff on the streaming services or have a cool album cover or get it into the right hands, but like we make more than that. I think people make more tracks than they can handle, and so just one more place that people can start playing out unreleased music to like a wider audience, and like again, low barrier for entry, like just letting people really experiment and like play what they're hyped on, and then also hoping that they'll play some of the stuff that influenced those tracks also in the mix. Yeah. But Insider Trading, it's all about like just like trading the stuff that people are keeping too close.
And being on the inside.
Yeah, being on the inside.
That's why I thought it was brilliant.
But it's really for everybody, so you know.
Yeah. Well, even from the first show, like how
Yeah.
you were able to collect different friends and like, again, this platform, which it's true, like people are sitting on so many beats and it just might not have an actual place or it might not see the light of day, but it's like so fire.
Yeah, so fire, yeah.
To have that moment, especially in something that is like a packaged experience is like, when you told me the concept or when I saw it posted online, I was like, this is brilliant. It's so good. There's it's the internet. We're in the day and age of technology and the internet, and there's so many shows out there.
Yeah.
So when you find something that it has like such a cool, clear concept, respect.
Thank you. I'm glad you like it. Yeah. Well, it was really cool. The first episode when I was mixing all my friends, not only did they all send me fire, like I had a kind of expectation of like, you know, these are going to be demos, like they're not mastered, they're not going to be like world class, but it was all world class. It was like no problem mixing with this stuff. It was just as good as if I had been digging for a couple weeks for like a mix or something. But not only that, but all the tracks like flowed together in a way that it was like who I met people through. Like
what do you mean?
Like I would play one track, and the track that would work perfectly after that was the person that. Sorry, I met the next person through this person. Like in terms of my friendships and connections, it's like it was like
it told a story.
It told a story. Like how I knew that person is like through this person, and like not just knowing, but like the friendships were built, or our experiences together, or what we're producing together. It all just made such perfect sense for me in terms when I was just like looking it on paper, like the track list. I was like, I love that these are going together. These people are matching, and and some of the people I talked to that sent the tracks in and talked about the mix after with me, they my one friend said he was tearing up, like seeing how the tracks were going together, and just hearing it all. Like I was just like, that's sick. That's what it was all about for sure. But
It's very serendipitous.
yes, totally. Yeah, it had meant to be. Yeah.
What are you inspired by Vancouver's current underground music scene? Either other groups or people or artists or just the vibe in general?
Yeah, I think right now it's a cool time, even though, you know, our venues are very limited. After the lockdown, it seemed like there were so many event crews that popped up. People were just like so hyped to like get out and get that project going. But beyond that, I feel like it's a very accepting and encouraging community of artists that are like down for whatever. You can honestly, you could say there's like a sound for Vancouver in so many different ways, so many different genres, or like if it's like the beat people making like, you know, there's like loop sessions. That's a good example. People meeting up once a month and they're making beats. There's B-side, which is just a hub of everything you can imagine, I think. And then in terms of parties, there's like super hype pop, queer techno parties. There's like tons of tech house and underground, like, you know, intense like Euro all-nighters. And then there's, it seems like with the festivals we have here, tons of bass music too. I don't know, you can honestly make anything and find yourself, your audience or your people, which is encouraging because like you don't need to go to a city to get the certain sound and like fit in. You can like, there's enough here, I think, to find like a really sick crowd or like super fans here or whatever. Yeah, so I think the festivals definitely help with that as well. Yeah.
Speaking of Bass Coast, was 2022 the only time that you've gotten to play it, or?
Yeah, that was my first and only time. It was an amazing experience, and yeah, I've applied this year, so fingers crossed. The full lineup isn't announced yet, but they did the first wave, and it's really great. But yeah, I love that festival. I've had a lot of inspiration and connections come out of that one.
Was that where Apollo was born?
Yeah, that's where that big long story took place, was that Bass Coast in 2017.
And that vision of yourself that you saw with your stage setup and all, did that get to come to life in 2022?
That was a very cool, it wasn't quite that, but it was like, it was the first year after COVID. I got to play after my friend Daryl Undulata. And and we were at the Cantina stage, and it was like also the Thursday, so it was literally like as everyone was seeing each other at the festival, it was like a huge hug fest, and I was playing as like warm and sunny, welcoming music as I could muster, and the stage was brand new. They had all this new like cool gold and turf and everything, and like it looked really sick, and so it came together in a way I wasn't expecting, but it was awesome. Yeah, good memes.
We have a question. Yeah, okay, you don't have to whisper, Jamal. You can just tell us.
Question in the chat.
Who's in the chat?
We got High Tower Tech asking, tell us about one of your earliest experiences where you found a home on the dance floor.
Ooh, so once again, it's High Tower Tech. Do you know who this person is?
I don't think so.
Shout out to High Tower Tech. Thank you for
the
tuning
question.
in. And the question is, tell us about a time that you...
Tell us about one of your earliest experiences where you found a home on the dance floor.
One of your earliest experiences where you found a home on the dance floor.
Whoa.
That's a great question. Thank you.
That is a really good question. I'm going to go with something later, I guess, because we're talking about electronic music. And we're talking about my influences. I went to Daft Punk in 2007, like one of their only tours in the States. I went down to Seattle with some friends, and that was an amazing experience because I was like nerding out online for so long about them, and you know, to enter a huge arena of people that were like also as obsessed with this group as I was. Yeah, I think it just says a lot about what music does in terms of how you understand the world and like how you can just like, without talking, feel connected to people because of like something bigger than all of the people in the room, you know? We're all there showing up for something we love. So I was pretty young, but like I definitely felt like I tapped into that at that age, and yeah.
How old were you then?
My math is not. 2007, I was, I guess,
high school, not high school?
16, yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, so, is that right? Yeah, I don't know.
We found out
Yeah.
who it is.
Who is it?
Max Riches.
Oh, hell yeah. What's up, Max?
Oh, what's
Sorry.
up, Max? No, that's
Sorry.
okay. That word's fine.
Yeah.
That word's fine. And
Yeah.
rated G. We're okay.
Max, big
Yeah.
wax when you want, core crew member.
Nice.
And, you know, he's doing his own thing, not silly radio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Max, maybe that question was directed to Joel, but I'm going to also
Oh, I'd
answer
love to
it.
hear your answer, yeah.
Where I felt home on the dance floor, I have this very early memory of being probably, I think, 10 or 9 years old. And it was my auntie who was getting married in San Francisco. And it was at her wedding. And I was a flower girl at this wedding.
Oh, amazing.
But like, this was also, again, I was a 90s kid, right? So golden era of hip hop, Filipinos, we love hip hop, funk, soul, disco music. And we do a lot of line dancing. I don't know if you know about that. Like,
okay.
do
Yeah,
you know
I can
the
see that.
electric slide?
Yeah.
Which is like, it's done to the song Electric Boogie by Marsha Griffiths. Shout outs forever. That is like, I want people to dance to that on my like celebration of life, okay?
Okay.
Take note,
Noted,
it is
take note,
recorded.
yeah.
But anyways, so at weddings, there's always line dancing going on, as well as Soul Train lines.
Oh, yeah.
And so that moment of feeling home was like, I forgot who it was. Like maybe it was I think it was my older cousin or whatever, who it was our turn to go down the Soul Train line. And I just had so much fun. And I was like, this is the best feeling ever. And
Yes.
exactly that, like people just celebrating and feeling joyous about life. Yeah.
I love that.
And none of that has changed for me.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, electric slide
Still
all the
going
way,
down
all
the Soul
day.
Train
We busted
line.
out in the clubs, like,
Yeah. Amazing.
yeah.
Then
So-
I also had some peak time childhood wedding dance floor moments. You're reminding me. Like, I also had a cousin, and I feel like just had like killer moves, and that was the first time I was around someone
Yeah.
who's like really dancing hard to music,
Yeah.
and like he's doing all these cool twists, and like he's just a cool guy, and I got right on board with going hard on the dance floor, and my parents always joke like that night driving home, you were like, did you guys see me dancing? I was like asking my parents like, did you see those moves? So I knew something was happening.
Affirmation.
Yeah,
Tell me.
I was like, something is conjuring in me right now. So yeah, weddings, it's a
I
great
love
spot
that.
to
You also brought back this memory of like my older cousins like realizing that I could dance, so they would like tell me like, "Hey, do this move, cuz."
Oh,
like, do
nice.
This move. Or they're like, "Do this move, cuz."
Yeah.
Do this move. And I was just so into it. I was like the
love
little
that.
kid who's just
Yeah.
like down.
Yeah.
Oh
Well,
my gosh.
you would have blown off like viral TikTok, I bet, if you were around back then. Yeah.
TikTok. Well,
Yeah.
we were not going to get into TikTok.
No. Yeah.
Are you on it?
No.
Yeah. I feel like that's the next gen.
Yeah,
You know, but fine, we're going to get into it just for like quick one line. But
Okay.
I just feel like it's changing dance culture
Mm.
for the young
so?
generation, the next generation.
Okay.
It's changing dance culture in the sense that like, you know, we are in the party and we enjoy being on the dance floor, dancing with one another.
Oh,
But
yeah.
like when you're, and again, we're talking about these early childhood memories of the weddings and the family reunions or whatever, this multi-generational litness that happens in celebrations. But then, you know, when your reference of like where the environment in which dance is experienced is because it is for social media, some form of social media, aka TikTok, it changes your relationship to the dance. It's
Right.
performative or it's to be seen, so you get the dopamine hits from the likes and the views, like, and it's wild to me. Anyway, not trying to sound like a hater or anything, because I'm
No,
sure
it's cool. It's a good perspective.
TikTok is useful and lucrative for some for whatever reasons, but it was just very strange to me. This one time I was at a park sessioning with myself, like listening to some new album a friend gave, and then somebody was like creepily like filming me, and I was like, no holds barred. Like I just went on like, excuse me, why are you filming me? What is? It's like, oh, like sorry, I just like, were you doing a TikTok? I was like, oh my God, no.
Yeah.
Like, no. I was just dancing for my own enjoyment in this park. Like, don't come at me with that TikTok stuff.
And it's funny, he probably thought that was weird. He's like, why? There's no camera filming you right now? Like, why are you?
Where's the camera? Where do you have it positioned?
Yeah.
That's actually crazy.
That is, yeah.
Oh my god.
That's a good point. I hadn't really thought about the TikTok dance fad that blew up, but yeah.
No. Yeah. We need to keep it pure. Don't mean to sound like a purist, but I will about this. You know? Yeah. You're in that video clip of that moment at Public Disco last year when shoutouts to Jamal, aka Jay Squeezy, was DJing. Also, our really good friend Thomas Maxey, aka Maxey Taxi, was DJing. And that was a moment of like realizing, oh, I need to be a party coach now. Because people were dancing with their cell phones. People were like, just like staring in front. Like, yeah, I mean, yeah, the DJs look good. Like, of course you want to look at them.
Can't not look at this guy. Come on.
Can't not, right? But like the whole time facing this one way, and that's when I became possessed by catching the ghost.
That's
the
good.
Party, the Holy Spirit of the party just took over me, and I had said on the mic. And what I love is like G Love had a video clip of that moment.
Amazing.
And I posted it on my Instagram, but you're in it. You're like right there by the DJ booth with these guys, and you're just like rocking out.
Yeah, I was.
And it was me essentially telling people like, y'all need to like have a moment. Look at your friends. Look at who you came to this party with, and like dance with them. Because y'all look too much at the DJ.
I love that. Yeah, I feel like that is like what it's all about. Is like the moments where art snaps us out of what. Like that's a very clear example. I guess we're actually just telling people like in a nice way. You did an amazing way, I'm sure, but like but
sassy but you wanted to take that.
Exactly. Exactly. But yeah, music, what movies are, whatever it is that just like pulls you out of kind of more mundane thoughts or living or whatever. It's like that snap where you're like, oh shit, like I'm present, I'm here, like I'm existing, I'm a fucking meatbag, and I'm like I need to like interact. Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Start your sentence again.
What did I even say?
For the edit.
Okay. Yeah. When you're, you know, whether it's music, movies, art, and you know that moment that snaps you out, and you're like, I'm a meatbag, and I am here on Earth and experiencing something amazing, scary, cool, interesting, and you know, we're all trying to be present, but like that's a great way to get into the body is like, or leave the body or whatever it is, like
souls in this meat suit, souls in this meat bag.
Yes. But I think there should be more dance floor refs, or what did you call it?
Party coach.
But
I also like this dance floor referees.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking about conceptually like a whole. I mean, I'm just gonna put it out there now as like maybe someone will want to hire this situation, but I want to organize like a whole squadron where we're like we keep the dance floor going, but we also like regulate how to be like what is the protocol on the dance floor and keep it moving. But I like this like now I'm getting a visual with like little whistles and cute outfit.
Yeah. Exactly.
Always a cute outfit.
You're like a secret shopper, but like for like. But for like a party event company, they're like sending their insurgents out to like make
and then
sure
we emerge, and then we got some like coordinated things going on. Yeah. But we're like, you know, coaching the crowd on how to dance, how to party, how to be present.
That's something.
We're on to something.
Yeah.
You can be recruited.
Okay. Yeah.
I trust your dance moves.
Yeah.
Oh, we're at an hour. Oh man, this has been great.
Yeah, amazing.
I fully enjoyed this.
So great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for having us, for all your stories and actually having this time to really get to know you and more of the stories behind your projects. I'm really excited for what's coming next. Anything you want to shout out in terms of like upcoming DJing gigs or projects coming out that people should be aware of?
I think I have a couple shows in March. One I think is for sure happening. I'm playing like a tempo party. Tempo Boys, they're great. They throw really cool events. So
That's a crew? Never heard of them.
Yeah, they've thrown a bunch of events around the city. So that'll be cool. And I have an EP on the way with a couple buddies that have started a label called Odd One, and that should be, we're hoping like later this month maybe. 3-song EP. Yeah, that's and then the radio show we'll have going every month in Wax.
When you want.
When you want. I think we're playing Bleach February 28th. So come by. That's open invite. So as many people as we can cram in that little wine tasting room. Yeah.
I wish I could go. I'm not going to be in town for that.
Okay.
But
well, I think it might be a regular thing.
Okay,
that's what
great.
we're hoping. Yeah.
Amazing. / I'd be down to come through to a Wax when you want, like whenever you find a new living room.
Yes.
You know?
Definitely. Yeah.
I might bring a real animal.
Okay.
Considering I'm always taking care of
If you have a gerbil hamster or some kind of ferret
lucky rabbit
thing. Yeah, a rabbit.
Yeah.
Just bring them all.
Thank you so much, Joel.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. This has been Joel Jasper, aka Apollo, a place only love lives on.
Of love, yes.
A place of love.
Thank you.
Only love.
Only love. Whoa. We can aspire. We can aspire for that.
And my name is Kazi. Shout out to everybody who's tuned in, who is watching the recording from this live stream. We really appreciate you. And also one more time, shout outs to Dilla, HBD, and thank you for all the music and inspiration from time. This has been Vancity, Beats, Eats, and more.